welcome back. I'm Pete, and you're watching the Custom Car Channel.
Brought it to me last night, and he said it's got a little hitch in its video.
Just needed more power.
She don't move. Gonna have to heat it.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I got a 2009 Buick Enclave. It's got 199,000 miles. It's here today. For the high pressure AC hose off the pump. So the first thing I want to do is verify that this is the right hose. So let's get started. It kind of looks right, but I'm going to take this cover off. We got to get to the connections right here on the condenser. So I'm going to take that off and let's see. That should verify whether it's the right one or not. Hopefully we don't have to take off the bumper cover. These two up here, man, they're down in there. I don't have the right tool, I guess, but I could get it out of there. Okay, I think that should come off of there. It is kind of broken up over here. I suppose we could fix. I'll fix that for her. So right down here, so this line goes on the compressor like that, and then down there, and then comes up here. I do believe we got the right line. It is going to be just ever so difficult to get this this bolt out here. All right, so I'm going to get the AC machine ready. We got the high port here. Where's the low? The low is right down there. So I'm going to get the AC machine ready, and then we're going to evacuate it. I'll show you how to do that. Alright guys, so this is my AC machine. Actually, I just got it, but I know how to use it. I've used this machine in the past. So, it's a Solar number 5101. I always leave the tank on down there. It doesn't seem to leak any. But I did add a feature to it because this does not have a scale, so I don't know how much I take out. So we'll just turn this on. I'll zero it. So I'm going to zero that out. So next what we'll do is, I got the hoses connected to the service ports and I opened the valves already. So next we'll turn this to, I always want to make sure too that I'm not running too much pressure in my tank. And it's right at 100. We can see if there's any oil in there. So that's draining the oil. We can vent some gases out of the tank on the machine. I think we're good. So next what I'll do is I'll turn this to recover. Then I'll select this tank. I can select the charge cylinder or the tank. I always put it into the tank. So next, I'm only going to take it out of the low side. So I'll open this. And then I'll switch the machine to recover. And then we can watch the gauge go down. And it was low. So now I'm gonna watch down there and see how much I get out. I don't think we're gonna have very much. It does seem like if you recover from the high side, you get a lot of oil. So I've learned that over the years of using this machine. Maybe some machines you don't have a choice, but this one I do. This is not digital, so I like it that way. So far we haven't gained any in the tank. Yeah, I just confirmed that the tank or the scale is working. Yeah, we ain't getting none out. I just turned it on enough when I brought it in, and it didn't get cold for me. So I did notice when I took the low side cap off, there was a little, you could hear a little spurt of air, which would have been some refrigerant coming out of there, some 134A. So I'm going to see if I can replace that Schrader valve in that low side. Yeah, she just had some air in there, so the hose was leaking enough that she's done. She didn't have any. So once I get this recovered, this light here will click off. It's on right now, and then I will switch it over to a vacuum for just a second, and I'll put like five inches of vacuum on it. That'll just ensure that I got all the refrigerant. And if I call this 134A Freon at some point in time, it's just because I started out with R12. I guess certain brands of refrigerant were called Freon, so I think like some 509. And so now we're done recovering. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, I will switch this over. I put a slight vacuum on it. I'll watch these gauges up here. Once I feel that, I'm satisfied with it's got a little bit of vacuum on it, then we're gonna unhook the hoses because there might just be in the way. So yeah, this machine is pretty old. I've used it, I'm going to say 10 years ago, pretty steadily at the place I used to work at. And I asked them if they would sell it to me, and they said they sure would. Alright, I've pulled both the high and the low into a vacuum, and yes, this is open. So now what I'll do is go ahead and shut this off. This one's already off. I'll switch all these over, shut the machine off. So now we're ready to disconnect everything, and then get that hose out of there. And I'm just thinking that I can change that hose from the top, but I will lift it up, and I'm going to clean it all off because it's spraying back on the compressor from driving. The wind is grabbing all the oil and dye that's coming out, and it's all over the compressor, so I got to clean everything off. I can't verify if the compressor's leaking at this point. So I told her we'd replace what we know is leaking, and that's one of the things I like to do. I only like to replace things that are bad. So I'm pretty sure it's the right hose. I've looked at the AC Delco website, and I had the schematic pulled up for the air conditioning on this thing, and that is the hose that I need. So I'm just gonna put the service caps back on, at least this one. So I think what we'll do, first we'll take it off up here, and then we'll lift it up, and I'll show you what it looks like down there, and then I think it's easier for me to work from the bottom to get that one off down there, and then we can clean it all up at the same time. So I haven't completely decided how I'm getting to that. I think I don't know what to think. So I think, okay, I'm going to have to come through here. I think first I'll try a wrench. I'll go get a couple wrenches. I think first we'll try that. Okay, it's a 13, and I got it loose. I'm going to try to get it off there with my fingers and maybe a magnet and a screwdriver or something. I just want to let you guys know that even though I evacuated it, I've had some systems, I think maybe they have, maybe the systems that have an expansion valve will sometimes confuse you. That when you have it evacuated, there still may be some in there. So you still want to exercise caution. You still want to wear your safety glasses. You still want to be safe. So I did hear a little bit sneak out of there. Like it's probably I had it under vacuum, so some probably air got in there a little bit. So I think we're good, and I'm not worried. And I almost got this off of there. So it's a bolt, and I got it out. So the line we need to get off is the line that has it's encapsulated, the clamp. So the clamp is encapsulated on the hose. That's the line we need, and I believe that's the top one. Sure is, and I got her disconnected. So let's lift it up. Let's work from underneath for a bit. So I do got the hoist arms set, but it's kind of sketchy, so I hope it don't collapse the unibody or the frame or whatever you want to call it. I think we're good. I'll check it more when I get it up higher. It's pretty sketchy, and I made her aware of this before. Alright, this one is really sketchy, but I kind of locked it on the frame connector there. This one we are kind of going in on right up there. It'll be okay for a few minutes. We're still good on this one. Oh boy. And this one is okay. Don't pinch these lines with the hoist. Alright, so you see right up there, that's the line we're going after. So I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see anything. I can barely see, so I'm going to just start working. So I'm going to use my pick to get the sensor wire off. I got that off. So now I just need to get the bolt off. And I'm going to spray that off with some brake clean first. Right? And it looks like I need that 13 wrench again. I think this one's going to be harder than the other side. I think I'm on it. I don't know how tight it is. Okay, I was on it, but I didn't get to turn it because of the motor mount. Alright, flip the wrench. Alright, I got it turning. It's coming. So, as soon as I get loose enough, I can use my fingers. Like right now. Alright, I believe I got it out of there. I just can't grab it with my fingers. Let me get something. I can't grab it with that. Let's try to use the magnet. Alright, I got it. So yeah, it's way up in there. It's just a bolt. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can't even do this. So next, I'm going to grab that line. Yeah, it's just a straight shot right up to there. So I'm going to pull it out of here. I'm watching where it goes up there. And just because I was watching where it goes doesn't mean I can put it back in, but she's all green, and I could get my black light. Should we try it? I'm going to turn the camera down just a little bit. Something like that. Yeah, I picked this up at Menards. I don't think you want to look at it. There you go. And I know it's hard to, yeah, it shows up on the camera. Look at that. So I just think it's leaking. Ew. I think it's just leaking out of the crimp connection there. Oh well, it's getting a new one, and it's getting a new one. So the new line, it's a genuine parts GM. That's a genuine parts. When I ordered it, it said it was an AC Delco, but it's the GM number is 19356341, and the number I ordered it's a 15-34440. They have it written in pen right there. So that's the number I ordered. I am going to try to leave this tag on there. That way there's no questions that this is a GM hose. It says Galaxy on it. Whatever. They're junk. Yeah, my point was it's got new seals and a new sensor, a new seal on this side too. But it was uncapped, so I'm just gonna blow through it. You never know what critters could have got in there. All right, looks like we're clean. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get that snuck back up in there, and I hardly even remember how it goes. And I've been live, so. All right, this side goes to the bottom. This side goes up. I think I pulled it out right here. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna cap it, because I don't want any. I'm gonna go get a couple caps. I got a whole box of plastic caps, and it took me forever to find these two. There must be 1,000 of them in there. I save every one of them. All right, now I feel better sticking this up in there. We're not going to get any dirt or grease or dust or anything down there. So it kind of went up there like that. No matter what I do, it's probably going to be wrong. I'll probably have to redo it, so let's just keep going. Alright, I'm pretty close to where I got to be. I'm going to take this lower cap off. I'm going to be really careful not to get any gunk in it. Alright, I'm back down into where it goes. I'm gonna see if I can get that bolt in there. I got it. I'm gonna get that stubby wrench. I guess the other thing we could have done is put a little oil on that gasket, but it'll be fine. It's starting to snug up. Hopefully the line's in the right spot on the top side, that's all I hope. I gotta rust again. I gotta shake it off. Shake it off, man. Woo! And before we go down, I'm gonna clean this all off. And she's got a clunk she said she's heard is new. So I gotta see if I can find anything. It's a little bit sketchy back there on the hoist. I did put a couple blocks underneath the running board. I'm gonna get a drive-on hoist, and she wants to repair all this rust, so I'm gonna do the best I can. Alright, now I need to get some torque on it, so I got the bigger wrench. I can kind of use the bottom of the AC compressor for leverage, so I'm pretty sure I can get some good torque. I'm pretty sure I'm as tight as it was. I'd like to go a little more. There we go. That's pretty good and tight. Now we need to get the high pressure switch connected. Oh boy. Yeah, I think I gotta go right through here. And it's turned into a different spot. Alright, I got her. Yeah, I think we're good down here. That was a pretty audible click. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off. I'm just gonna check a few things for a clunk, and I'll turn the camera on and we'll go back and work on the top side. Alright guys, I washed it all off. The only thing I could find loose, or it wasn't even loose, but I thought when I drove it in I heard a strut problem, and this passenger side's the seal's blown right out of it. It's like it's gone. I'll have to take it for a drive and see how bad it bounces, but yeah, if they start leaking they need to be replaced. Alright, I think I'm gonna put a new seal on this other. So this would be the exit, the output of the condenser. I got some new seals. They're right over here. So it's going to be going like this. I'm going to go get some oil. So I'm going to start putting oil on these. So it's got some regular oil without dye in it. That's PAG 46 for this one. And my service data says it's 37 ounces. I'll have to verify that. That seems like a lot. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I should have done that on the other one. We can go ahead and stick that one down there. The new line's up here and I think we're okay. It's just that we got to go in just a little bit differently. It's got to be twisted. The hose has got to bend and then come back. Right now the hose is right here. So let's get some oil on this one. I don't know. I've always just put oil on them. You probably don't need to. That one really fits on there tight. Now, I just got to get it down and around. All right, I got it. I'm just gonna verify that it's absolutely in the right spot. Yep, it cannot go in any differently. Let's get that bolt snuck back in there and get this baby charged back up, and then we gotta fix this cover for this lady. I'm having a little bit of trouble. All right, I'm just gonna wrench it in now. All right, it's starting to get tight, and I want to be really careful that I don't put too much twist on it and break the condenser. All right, I'm just gonna go one little bit more. All right, that's tight. All right, I think next I'm gonna reach way down there and get that Schrader valve out of the low pressure line. That's right down there. And I did put a cap on it down there before I blew it off, so this is my cap. So I think we're going to need a tool like this. Hopefully that's the right one. Alright, it's the smaller end of that tool. And it's right hand thread. Let me get it out of there. I think it's out. It's just stuck a little bit. I'm going to try one of these. So I got it. It looks a little icky. Now somebody's here, but anyways, I found a new one. I'm going to put it into the tool like that. Now I'm going to put it in there. Alright guys, let's fix this cover up a little bit. I did notice that the seal for that connector for the high pressure sensor was stuck in the sensor, so I took that apart and I thought I might have bent a pin over. So I looked in there from here and it's all good, and I got the seal back on. So if you notice that, I got that fixed already. So I want to fix this cover. I actually want to put this on before we charge it. So we're gonna use some staples real quick, and this thing's kind of turning on me. What's this one? We're just going to put some staples in here real quick, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to flush cut them, and then that'll be good enough. So I got this kit. I guess, yeah, I could link this down in the description. It's the cheaper one, but that's just fine. It works fine. I'll show you, and you'll see. So I think we'll start off with some of these ones. So what I do is I just put it in there, and then you put this back together, and then I'm going to heat this before I melt it in. So then I give it a little twist right as I let off the power. Alright, so it's holding now. So I want to put in a lot of these. And if you see one you don't get in all the way, go ahead and go back and heat it up and twist it a little more. And we got to be really careful. This is like 3/32 thick plastic, so I don't want to melt through. Alright, that's it for those. Let's put one in the corner, and that's these ones. Alright, I think let's trim them off, and I'm going to put some PVC cement on it. It seems to bond pretty good. I'm going to go get my safety glasses, because these things fly off. And they sting pretty good when you're grabbing onto them and holding them. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to grind them off a little bit. I'm just using a flapper. Alright, that turned out perfect. Let's put some primer on there. And I just got clear PVC cement. So we'll let that primer dry. There we go. Alright, so it's dry enough. I can put it on right here. So it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. Actually, that's really good. Alright, I'm going to put the AC machine hoses back on. Alright, let's go back over. So next what we need to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make sure that I have enough refrigerant in the machine, because if I don't, then I got to suck some out of the tank, out of a keg. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up So this machine, we fill up this charge cylinder. So all I have to do is watch this sight glass, or watch the pressure on this gauge. And this one says it holds 2 pounds 3 ounces. This will be up here somewhere. So I just flip this switch, and then I watch it. Alright, I got my 2 pounds 3 ounces in there. So next, I always add just a little bit of oil. I think everybody does when you do a recharge. And this one has leaked oil. I don't know how many times it's been recharged though. So I'm just going to put in the normal amount, or just a little more than an ounce. So to do that, I'll unhook this. I'm going to shut this valve. Unscrew this. Then there's a little line in here at 1 ounce, so I'm just going to go a little bit over that line. This one takes PEG 46. So then we're good to go ahead and screw this back on. Because when we vacuum it down, it'll pull all this out of here on both sides. So next, I'm just going to pull it down on the low side. So I'll open the low side one. We'll go flip this to up. And then we'll also flip this to up. Now we'll go ahead and evacuate. So now what we want to do is we want to watch these gauges. And they'll start going to inches of vacuum. And we want to leave this machine on a vacuum for probably 20 to 30 minutes. I'm just going to probably do 20. So we had the system open, which we need to get rid of any moisture that we've gotten into the system from having it open on a really humid day. You probably, if you have the AC system open, you're probably going to want to keep this on there for 45 minutes until she's at my gauges will, I don't know, there's a maximum of what we can draw down for inches of vacuum, but my gauges will say like 30 to 32, and you want to make sure it stays there, because if it don't, you either got a leak or there's a lot of water in your system. So we'll go ahead and let that recover, then pull a vacuum. Then after we pull a vacuum, I'm going to actually let it sit and just make sure it holds. And if it does, then we're going to charge it up. So right now, I'm just going to let the machine run for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, she's been sitting a while. Well, she's been sitting 30 minutes with the vacuum on it, and I vacuumed it down for 20 minutes. It is holding. I think I need to explain what we're doing. So I had the system open, and what I'm doing is, since it was open to the atmosphere, it got moisture inside. So what I'm doing is water boils at room temperature, basically under a vacuum. So today's like, let's say today was 86 degrees. Water would boil at 28.67. Now that's not going to be hot, it's just going to vaporize. So if there's a lot of water in the system, you're going to have to continuously put a vacuum on it until you get it, until it holds. And we're holding. So a perfect vacuum is 29.92 inches of mercury. And from my understanding, nothing can exist in a perfect vacuum. I mean, nothing. It just all boils away or evaporates or whatever you want. Let's just say it evaporates. So in a perfect vacuum, nothing can exist. I do believe so. Maybe I'll edit that part out, or maybe somebody can correct me, but one of the guys I used to work with was a physics major, and he told me that, and I kind of believe it. So we're holding. I can show you. My gauge actually says 30, and it's hard to get a gauge that's perfect. And what we could do is just tap on it a little bit to make sure it's not stuck. It's not. So now we're ready to charge the system. So what I want to do is I want to look down here at my my charge cylinder, and this holds 2 pounds 3 ounces according to Mitchell. So I'm right on the nuts. So what I'll do is we're going to charge it on the high side. So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and you're going to hear it. There's oil in here. You're going to hear that suck in. At least I can hear it. So now I need to switch this to down, and I need to open the high side. There she goes. She's going right in. So now I'll watch this down here at the charge cylinder, and sometimes I cannot get it all in there. So I'll just let this go until it gets down to where it is, and then we're going to shut this off, go start up the car, and turn the AC on the coldest, on recirculate, and on high blower. And I'll put my temperature gauge in there, and then I'll come back here and we'll put the rest of the refrigerant in on the low side with the car running. Alright, while that's going in, I can explain one more thing. So when you hook up a set of gauges, manifold gauges, to your service ports, if the car is all at ambient temperature, so you'll look up your ambient temperature, and you'll come over here, and let's say it's 88 degrees. Well, then we come over here to 134, and the static pressure for 134 should be 100.6 psi. So if you're just hooking up gauges, you know, your AC ain't working, and you got it's 86 degrees outside, and you got 100 pounds of pressure reading on your manifold set, odds are you got a different problem than being low on refrigerant. So that's another thing. You can print off one of those charts and be pretty dead nuts. And unless somebody's charged it with nitrogen or it's got excessive air in it, if it's reading that, it's usually good. It doesn't always work, but usually. And the most important thing, everything has to be ambient. You just can't pull a car in that's been running and do that. I mean, you can be close, and usually you can judge whether that's full or not by using that chart. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and shut this high side valve off. I'm going to go in there and start the car and turn the AC on, and we're going to put the rest of it in. I got just a little bit over a pound in. Alright, the compressor's running. We're building up some pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and open this really somewhere right in there. So now she's sucking in more refrigerant. So I'm going to go ahead and watch that. And I think I had 1 more ounce in there than what I needed, so I'll still be able to see a little bit in the bottom, and then I'm going to shut this off. And usually what I'll do is I'll suck it out of the high hose and then back into the car, but I don't think we'll do that on this one. So, because I already know I have enough in there. Maybe we will. So I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so I got enough in there now, or the correct amount. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open the high side service port, but not disconnect it. Alright, now we'll go back. It's cycling now, so now we'll go back over to the machine. We'll shut this off. I'm going to open, both valves are shut. I'm going to open the high side. Now I'm going to slowly open the low side. And then when the high gauge, when them two gauges match, then I'm going to shut them valves off and I'm going to go ahead and unhook the low side coupler. So when the compressor shuts off, I'm shutting this off. Now I'm opening it. Alright, we've equalized. I'm going to go ahead and unhook the low side coupler. Alright, I got that. I was just being a little careful because it's right down next to the fan. I didn't want to get my fingers in there. Alright, next we're going to go in and make sure it's cold. So let's go do that. So your coldest vents will be in the middle, but I'm just going to stick it in right here. And if that's cold, then I'm going to go ahead and shut it off, and I'll let the system equalize so we have the least amount of pressure on the high side coupler. And I'll wrap a rag on it because we're going to have just slightly under 100 psi when everything is equalized. Or probably, yeah, somewhere around 100 psi, 90 to 100 psi when everything is equalized. And it'll attempt to spray out some oil if you just don't be careful. So it's down to 48 and dropping. So on a good AC system, you're going to want to see 40 to 45. We'll see what it gets to. And we are running inside the shop on a warm day, so. And then I'm going to pull my temperature gauge out so I don't forget it, because I always leave these in the cars. I've had one come back a year later and my temperature gauge is still in there. So it looks like we're dropping to about 47. So that's a little bit warmer than I would like, but we are just sitting here idling too. I'm going to pop this into the middle vent and see what it is. So it's down to 45. So it's running between 45 and 47. Well, there I see 44. It's getting colder. It's down to 44, which sitting in a stagnant building running the AC is good enough for me. There's 43. I'm going to see if I can pull that out real quick and so you guys can see it. It's cycling really nice. We're good. I know I wasn't able to see, so I hope you guys were, because it changes fast. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. So now we just got to wait for and we don't know what the pressure is right now because I got the valve off. So we're just going to wait a while. Some take a long time for it to equalize. I'm not going to wait very long. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back on, lift it up, and I'm going to spray some soapy water on everything and use my black light again. My ultraviolet light, or whatever you want to call it. And then we're done. So I'm going to call that good. Actually, we got to go back over to the machine again. So I'm going to unhook the high pressure, the high side service connection. So I'm just going to wrap my rag around here. I'm just going to hope and pray. So not too bad. And we'll wipe everything down. Already put the service port cap on the bottom, on the low side, so now I put it on the top. So we're done in here. I'm just going to shut this. Alright, let's go get the machine ready for next time. I don't like leaving pressure in my tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to recover, this to depressurize, and this to recover. And I'm going to open these valves. I'm going to switch the machine to recover. And now it's going to vacuum down my charge cylinder, and it's going to take all the refrigerant and put it into that tank. And then after that, we're going to drain the oil and purge and do all that kind of stuff. So this don't take very long. It's just recovering what's in the charge cylinder and in the hoses. It's gonna click off any minute. There we go. I meant to say any second. So we'll shut these, turn this off. We're gonna turn this one upward. It's just a pressure separator. I'm not really sure. We're gonna go like that, and then we're gonna go to drain oil, and we're gonna let that drain. All right, it's done. So I haven't emptied the tank, but it's right over here. Let's pull it out. So that's about what I had in it the last time. So I just, until it gets up to here, then I'll dump it. If anybody knows where I can get a new window for my charge cylinder, that's kind of all busted, I'd be interested. Now I'm just gonna vent a little bit of non-combustible gases out of the recovery tank. Okay, get it straight, man. So I just like to do that. So I had about 100 psi in there, and that's close enough for me. You don't probably want to go much over 150 or 200. I don't think. At least I don't. I've used this machine probably hundreds of times. Alright, Gina's ready, and I'm ready to check for leaks. I meant to say the machine is ready for next time. I just kind of tidy up the cord right here. I'm kind of lucky I got this machine, and I like this one. We'll just scoot her over to the side. Alright, I'm going to start it up, and we're just going to take a look for leaks really quick, and then she's done. I don't even think I'm going on a test drive today. Alright guys, I soaped everything down. I don't see nothing. This is just some, that's not really leaking there. I've shined the black light on it. So here's the black light. I don't see anything as of yet. Alright guys, I don't see nothing leaking. I used the black light a little bit, and or UV light, or whatever you want to call it. This thing, I didn't put no dye in it because it has plenty. Like I said, I did put a little more than an ounce in because it was leaking pretty good. It was leaking all down here on the frame and everything. So, yeah, that's how you replace that hose, and that's how you charge it up with an old school recovery machine. Yeah, if anybody knows where I can get one of these windows, you're supposed to be able to turn these. The temperatures. I keep calling that temperature, but it's pressure on the gauge. So if anybody knows where I can get one of those, this one's all really, it's had a rough life, I guess. I've never broken it. It's been like that ever since I used it. Actually, 15. So it's been like that ever since I started using it 15 years ago at the place I used to work at. I'd just sure like to get a new one if anybody knows, or a good used one that ain't all busted up. But anyways, that's how you, yeah, we did a good job today, and I'm not going to test drive this car. She's going to be back in. It needs some rust repair, and it needs a strut. Alright guys, hopefully you learned something, and you know this video helps somebody out, and at least you know that I'm always working hard. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and you can catch me next time, and I'll see you later.